Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. Today we are doing another Rick Moranis movie called The Flintstones. I didn't get the date on it, but it's supposed to replicate the cartoon, which it does. And Steven Spielberg, although at the beginning when they list the credits, I think they call him Steven Spielrock, directed it.
Safi, that's not.
That's what they say. It's just for fun.
He didn't direct it.
Okay, what he produced it, directed it. What did he do?
Well, let's check. Let's just check Google. Let's check Google, Safi. You know how to use Google?
Marco, that's what it said there. It was the only name they put at the beginning.
Brian Levant? Who's that?
What did it say that for?
He looks like a caveman. He looks like a nerd caveman at a internet cafe who does weird things. Ooh, he directed Jingle All the Way. Are We There Yet? Yeah, he's made some bad movies. Oh, he made Problem Child too. That was a good movie.
And John Goodman plays Fred. And Rick Moranis, he actually plays Barney. And Rosie O'Donnell plays Betty. And then you have two sets of twins playing Bam Bam, the little Barney and Betty's little boy. And you have another set of twins who plays Pebbles, who is Fred and Wilma's little girl.
Well, Safi, who plays Wilma?
Oh, God, he just told me. No, not Wilma? Yeah.
Yeah, who plays her? Let's see if you remember.
Jenny? Betty?
Yeah. Well,
which is a weird name. I feel like I'm saying two names.
Sorry, Safi, that is not correct. I told you the wrong name.
Okay, well, I didn't know her name.
That's not a name. That name.
I just knew everybody else's.
That name doesn't exist, actually.
I was going to say it sounded too weird to be true.
Her name is Elizabeth Perkins.
That was Elizabeth Perkins?
Yes, Safi.
With red hair? I thought she had brunette hair.
Oh, God. See, this is what happens when you do a video with Safi.
Okay,
it starts off with
I know who Elizabeth Perkins is, but
this is like an afternoon with a boomer, like a special interview. You know, like they have those interviews on YouTube, like the ones with the inbreed family.
Oh, for heaven's sake!
The ones with the victim who survived the serial killers, and they have like those still black and white pictures of their fucked up faces on the front. And like every video with Safi is like an interview with a boomer.
Okay. And Elizabeth Taylor is actually in this movie, which I've forgotten about. She plays Fred's mother-in-law.
She doesn't look good in this movie. That's
the best she could look.
She looks really average. Like there's no way you could recognize that as Elizabeth Taylor unless
it was Elizabeth Taylor.
You read IMDb or use Google like me.
And then Kyle MacLachlan plays the bad guy who works for the company, and Halle Berry plays the secretary who she's in cahoots with Kyle MacLachlan. And Kyle plays, Kyle. Oh, darn it.
Is it Argyle? Is it Mr. Argyle?
Twin Peaks guy.
His name is Argyle in this movie.
It's not Argyle. Where is it? I wrote it down.
Well, anyways, let's get to the movie.
Well, go ahead. Cliff. He plays Cliff.
This movie,
which is interesting.
I don't like this movie.
I like it.
But at the same time, I like this movie. Like
it's really based on the cartoon. It's totally. The ending of the movie, that is totally the ending that was in the cartoon, and I just watched it to make sure because I thought that all looks familiar.
Well, Safi, that doesn't mean it's a good movie, and so
I thought that was interesting that they replicated the entire cartoon at the end.
Yeah, you would know
at the beginning.
You would know. Started. You would know, wouldn't you, Boomer?
Yeah, I used to watch that show when I was a kid.
This movie, I like it and I don't like it because it's a heavily flawed movie. It's very dumb. It's very superficial. It's very melodramatic. And it's kind of annoying because, for the most part, they had all the ingredients for a good movie. But they're really ruined by this terrible script, this melodramatic, cliche, been there, done that story that we've seen a million times, of the guy who gets or the guy who's being suckered by the bad guys so that they can frame him, plus like the cliche with like the guy who gets popular and then he turns into a jerk and he loses his friends. Like, we've seen all this stuff before, and so that's the worst stuff in the movie. And also Rosie O'Donnell. I mean, she's awful. She's like,
she tries her very
she's
best
like
to
the
play
scum of
Betty.
the earth in real life and in the
Okay,
movies.
we're not judging
And-
people by the real
Well, Safi,
lives.
she's just the
in the movie.
worst.
Well,
She's
she-
the worst.
Did you ever watch any of the cartoons?
Safi, she in the cartoon,
She imitates Betty to a T. She does the laugh. She has a distinctive laugh. She's tried to imitate her to her very best.
Safi, does Betty in the cartoon look like, a bigger person? Safi? Look how she looks in the cartoon. She looks like a woman. She looks like a starlet. She looks like a fairy. She looks like a black-haired Tinkerbell. She looks like a black-haired Tinkerbell. And then you get to the movie and it's like, ugh, what the hell is that? I mean, seriously? Are you shitting me? What the hell were they thinking with that? Oh!
Maybe they wanted her because she could do the laugh.
Yeah,
That's what Betty did in the show.
She is the most annoying, obnoxious actress. Well, one of them. She's the worst. She's the worst. But then again, I wouldn't know, like, I don't have like a list of actresses from that time period that I can just pull up. Oh wait, I can use Google. Okay, when did this movie come out? Safi.
1994. It said that up there.
Okay, let's look up 1990s actresses with black hair. Let's find one. Let's see if we can cast the movie
That's silly.
better than them. Let's see.
Yeah.
Well, no, I have to think about it because, casting is something that you have to take seriously.
I know that.
You don't be like Harvey Weinstein. You have to take it seriously, and give it careful consideration. Well, I would say, I mean, Uma Thurman, she's a no-brainer for this role. I fixed it.
I don't believe so. She's
Boom.
tall, isn't she?
In Pulp Fiction,
Is she like 5'8"
she
or
looks
9?
she looks like a fairy for sure. And then nowadays, I would say Kristen Ritter, she would be perfect for the role of Betty.
I don't think so. I really don't.
Why the fuck not, Safi? She looks exactly like the character. Look at that.
Yeah, but she had to be able to do that laugh.
Well, I think she can do it. You don't need to
I don't know. I don't
insult
know. I
the
can't.
what was she called? The bitch in apartment whatever. You're insulting
I
her.
liked that show, but it was
Yeah.
on for about 2 seconds.
So just
and they took it
admit
off.
she would be the perfect Betty.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyways,
And she did play a comedy. She was playing comedy roles. That's where she started out, and then she was in that serious, what was that, a Marvel show? And so anyway, I don't know. The thing about Rosie O'Donnell, she perfected the laugh, and I think that's probably what got her the part. And she's also, she was also a comedian.
I think they were afraid of her. I think because, like, there's no other reason you would cast Rosie O'Donnell in a movie. Because, like, you just have to think.
Watch a couple of the cartoons.
Oh, I've seen her in A League of Their Own. I know all about her.
This isn't A League of
She's
Their
terrible.
Own. This
She's
is
terrible.
Flintstones.
She plays the same character in every single fucking thing she does with her annoying voice and her annoying accent, if she would just tone it down like 6 degrees, then she'd be a lot more likable and charismatic, but she won't because she wants to be over the top and obnoxious. And I just feel like the meeting had to have been really, really scary. She the casting call, she had to have come in and I can't really imitate her voice, but she was like, "If you don't hire me, I'm gonna do a dick-a-bop things to you. I'm Rosie O'Donnell. And if you don't hire me, I can do a laugh." That's what the casting call was like.
She watched a couple of the cartoons.
She threatened to step on them or something because, I just don't see why would you hire Rosie O'Donnell?
Okay.
Why?
The movie was exactly like the cartoon, except they had a full story, and so they went a little bit more in depth to make it a movie. Because if they just, if it'd been just like the cartoon, it wouldn't have lasted that long. So, but everything else, even the end, they showed Mr. Slate, and Mr. Slate, he looked exactly like he did in the movie, or the TV show. So I watched this show many times.
I've seen one or...
It's so funny because, this is live action, so you see their feet, and I know they must have put some kind of motorized thing on the bottom of their, quote, cars. But, they show them with their feet on the ground, and then they run, and the car gets going. And so then you see but the bottoms of everybody's feet is filthy, which is funny because, you never think about that in the cartoon, but this is live action. So it's really funny because Fred, when he gets in the office, he puts his feet up on the...
But wait a second, we have this video here of people driving cars and they're not using their feet.
They have to start out. They start out and then when they stop, they put their feet down.
Okay, well I've seen a few episodes of the show before. That's what I was trying to say.
Ago.
Well, and no, it's a great show.
They also, if you see that, they just showed a fire engine.
There's no agendas.
It was written by it was a dinosaur.
Yeah, I saw that. That's really funny.
So the dinosaur used its feet.
Well,
people didn't have.
I will also say though that, we were talking about that shitty Ghostbusters movie for 2 days, and
this was better than that.
These people did a much better job at adapting a cartoon.
Yes.
Than the people who made the Ghostbusters movie did.
And you knew it was a cartoon, too.
Where, the Ghostbusters people, they're like, instead of coming up with our own ideas, we're just going to copy the cartoon from Ghostbusters, because that's what everyone wanted. That when everyone saw the Afterlife movie, they said, make a movie like the cartoon. No, nobody said that. Maybe a couple people.
I don't think a lot of people watched that cartoon.
Well, they have.
They had it.
It has a cult following, but this movie did a much better job, I guess, at adapting the show. It's just that they did such a mediocre job at telling a good story for a movie, which is really common when you get these adaptations of TV shows or anything.
You're talking about cartoon, though, it's just really one-dimensional.
A lot of the times they have really mediocre stories, and Safi saying that the cartoon is one-dimensional is not really accurate at all. And it's still not an excuse. There's been plenty of also good movies that have been adapted from TV shows. So, Safi?
I didn't say TV shows. I meant cartoons.
What?
Cartoons are short.
Safi.
And they're very simple.
That doesn't matter.
One-dimensional.
No, they're not.
About?
No, they're not.
So?
They're not one-dimensional at all.
Okay, Marco. Anyway,
if you think if you think cartoons are one-dimensional, you're retarded. If you think that Looney Tunes cartoons are superficial and one-dimensional, you're retarded.
Okay, Marco. So, anyway, because it was a movie, they did extend the plot. So they lengthened it in the kind of like the middle. And if it still had all those, I don't know what you want to call it, Marco said it, the cliches, and he talked about what they were, the best friend and the bad guys, and taking it out on somebody, and so they did have all that.
Well, I think my least favorite cliche, the big cliche that really, really pisses me off, and I hate it every time I see it, is the big reveal scene where you have, like, the character who's acting like a jackass, and they're
in the restaurant?
And they're in, like, a public venue or something like a restaurant, and they get confronted with the truth, and, like, you're actually a huge jackass, and nobody even likes you anymore, and there's this big scene, and it's, like, really dramatic and over the top, and that part is always, like, the worst part in these stupid movies, like, the big reveal scene, because, you know, it has to be really dramatic and over the top, and just really, really silly. Especially in here. Even though there were some good jokes here and there. I mean, the movie was very entertaining in a guilty pleasure type of way.
Mm-hmm. It was a good way to while away the Sunday afternoon.
Oh, you agree it's a guilty pleasure.
Well, yeah, it's not like it's, but it was entertaining. I didn't say it wasn't entertaining. It was funny, and it was just, I liked the Flintstones, and it was interesting to see, the live action and think about, and then they have all the little gimmicks, to take a shower. They have the, what would it be, a mastodon, getting water and spraying it out of its trunk, and it was actually hot water. I don't know how that would work, but out of the mastodon's trunk, and then over the people, and then the dictaphone, which was an important part to the story, was a bird who could repeat everything that you said, and then they had to inscribe tablets, which were stone with some kind of little stylus thing.
Yeah.
And
all those are from the cartoons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
as much as possible.
That's not their invention. It's just you're glad that they adapted the cartoon.
They adapted it.
They adapted all those things.
And then the bowling, which was fun with the pins and the ball, and then of course they're not wearing bowling shoes. They have their bare feet.
Now let's talk about the feet in this movie, because this movie, I don't know, it's really weird because there's so many shots in this movie of people's feet, and I never realized it until someone else pointed it out, but, whoever made this movie has a really weird thing for feet, because, I don't know what it is. Is it, a comedic thing of, it would be really gross if everyone didn't wear shoes, they just walked around in their feet. I remember in 2018 or 2019, it was the start of the year, and I was walking around on my bare feet like I used to do all the time, and I got a splinter.
Yeah, that'll do it.
and then after I got that out, a couple weeks later, I got another splinter. And just the splinter experience is not fun.
No, it isn't.
And just thinking about everyone in this movie, they all don't wear shoes or socks or anything ever. It's just really, really gross at some points. But it's weird, how many shots of feet there are in this movie. It's weird.
But if you think about it, in the Amazon, they have tribes that went around with, or I should say ethnic groups, because it's disrespectful, but they...
Tribes.
No, they don't like it.
Tribes.
Nobody likes it.
Tribes.
Anyway,
tribes.
they have bare
Tribes.
feet.
Tribes.
Think about Native
Tribes.
Americans, they had
Cry
bare
harder. Cry harder,
Quiet.
boomer. Cry harder.
Be quiet. Anyway,
But there's an
I have the same
emphasis.
experience.
There's an emphasis on the feet, though.
Well, probably because when they were watching the cartoon and they're thinking about this movie, and they're thinking about, they were barefoot in the TV show. They were barefoot all the time. There were no shoes.
No, I just think they put it in there because they liked it.
I don't know.
Because they liked the feet.
I can't begin to read their minds.
This movie had more feet shots than a Tarantino movie.
Well, I just was, I never thought about it either when I watched the TV show. I never thought about their feet.
No, because I don't think about people's feet.
No.
Ever.
Yeah.
Except if I get a splinter.
Well, I got splinters too. I was going around barefoot too. What happened was we were living in a house with wooden floors, hardwood floors, you know, because it was built in 1865.
Oh God.
And that's a recipe for splinters, a wood floor.
Oh, so let's talk about the casting other than Rosio shitfuck.
I thought Fred and Barney were cast really well. And
I guess.
Well, I really did. I thought they did really well.
I mean, they did a good job. Like, I think that they worked well together.
Yes.
But I don't really know if Rick Moranis is the perfect guy for Barney.
Oh, no.
I don't know, because, like, in the cartoon, he looks, like, a little bigger like Fred does as well.
Yeah, not quite. Yeah.
You know? So I would say that, but... You know, they both did a good job. They had a lot of good chemistry with each other. It seems like Rick Moranis, he's got to have, like, a big, overweight guy with him, like, to be, like, a funny character. Like, he's always, like, and basically his most popular movies, he always has, like, an overweight sidekick. Or he's the sidekick to some overweight character.
Well, I guess on that last Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, his, quote, brother was a little bit taller and overweight.
And also Strange Brew.
Which I haven't seen. So.
Oh, you will be seeing it, and you've seen it before. I remember.
Well, I don't know.
Or maybe you did.
Maybe when I watch it, I'll remember, but the name isn't familiar at all.
But what do you think about the wife? Because I have to say...
she's okay.
She did a good job, and it's really funny because I think about how nowadays they would never allow John Goodman to be married to somebody like Elizabeth Perkins.
Really?
They would have to have somebody who's as fat as John Goodman...
But that's not the cartoon.
Or ugly. It doesn't matter. They won't do that anymore. you know, I mean, even like, you know, Roseanne. Who's John Goodman with? Roseanne. Ooh! You know, like, that's because that's what they do. You know, so it's really interesting that in this movie they're able to do that and get away with it. And but somehow, when it comes to regular movies, they don't really do that at all. It's pretty weird. Safi, what do you have to say about it?
Well, another interesting thing was, now I don't, you know, I watched quite a few of the episodes, but like, this is the same problem that we had with anything else when I was growing up. The only way you could see a repeated episode was you had to wait till the season was over. Then they would show the episodes again. And then, like years later, you'd have to see it in syndication. This is all before VCR and then DVD came out. So I don't know the origins of Bam Bam. I don't know if that followed the cartoon or not. I don't know how they, you know, they adopt him, and then they bring in, I guess it was an orangutan to the Henderson family, because, you know, I think Harry and the Hendersons, I don't know, wasn't that an orangutan? I never watched that. And then they brought out this wild boy, and they said he was raised by, didn't they say he was raised by, mastodons or something? And so he was all wild. But in other words, the story about adopting Bam Bam, I don't know if that was true or not, or if that was true to the cartoon. I have no idea. Because I just thought they had him like any other baby.
Well, maybe they did in this movie. They were showing the origin.
Yeah, I don't know. So I can't really attest to that, because I don't remember that. I think I remember when they had um, Pebbles, and that was, I think they went to the hospital and all that.
Well, anyways, I'm going to talk while Safi coughs to death. So, there's something really big to mention with this movie. The plot is that Fred helped out Barney and his wife get their baby with the money from their savings account.
Yeah.
And so in exchange, Fred, all the workers at the quarry are are made to take this aptitude test, and Barney does really well, and he sees that Fred does really poorly, and he switches the tests so that Fred will then get this promotion and get this huge job, and little does he know that they are framing him for this embezzling scheme. But the thing that I wanted to point out that I thought was really queer and stupid, and it just completely ruins the whole movie, if you think about it for like 2 seconds, is that why would they want a smart person to be the guy who takes the fall? Because when they're confronted with Fred Flintstone being the best test being the best test taker, and so he got the best results, they're really excited that Fred Flintstone, the big idiot, is going to be the one that they frame. So why in the first place did they want the smartest guy there? It doesn't make any sense at all. Because the smartest guy there would have figured it out from the first day. Yeah.
He does figure out things. He doesn't really clearly understand the whole process, but he suspects that it's not good.
Yeah, he figures it out.
He's maybe not as quick on the draw as Barney.
But yeah, like, why would they want the smartest person? That makes no sense at all. Right, Safi?
Yeah, I understand. I agree with you. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. But he does figure out there's something wrong. Well, what he does, he starts asking a lot of questions. And that's when they give him a bonus, which I guess is stolen money, which I don't get what the money was. I don't remember what the money was in the cartoon, but
it's rocks. It's like little rock things.
It's weird. They look like, I don't know, fat pretzels or cookies or something.
They look like puzzle pieces, and to me, I thought
should be shells.
How someone could just make their own money.
I know.
And it would be very easy to counterfeit this rock puzzle money. So
they're not perfectly shaped. They're oddly shaped pieces of rock.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was odd. And if you look, we were in East Africa, and what they have at the beach are these little, they're called cowrie shells. That's what they used in some of these ancient cultures. Of course, if they don't live near any body of water, I guess they wouldn't have that. But they use shells as money. So that would have been something else that they could have used. But these were like oddly shaped pieces of rock. I wasn't even sure if it was rock, but like Marco said, what else would it be? Because that's all they had. But I thought the interesting thing was, after it was all said and done, and everything is found out, it's just the invention that comes out of it. The accidental invention. I guess we can talk about that later or something. But I didn't remember that. I thought that was a good surprise and twist. That was a good twist that benefited everybody. So.
Well, I really liked all the scenes with John Goodman working at the company, and being a bumbling fool, and Halle Berry with him. Halle Berry was good to put in the movie.
Yeah, she was. She was perfect, I thought.
I thought really everyone was pretty perfectly cast except for Rosie O'Donnell.
Marco doesn't like Rosie O'Donnell, so I don't think he can get past it. Did you like her in A League of Her Own?
No.
See, so he didn't even like her there either. And that was a good movie.
And
that was on just yesterday.
That movie is really good, and you get a stomach ache when you think about it, because every time you watch it, you're going to have to suffer through Rosie O'Donnell and her annoying fucking accent. Like, she's the worst. Like, it's like, thank God she's not in Ghostbusters, because she would ruin that, too.
She's older now.
But they ruined it already, though, and, you know... Well, you know, they could have had her be the lesbian ghost.
I don't think
right?
so. I think she's too old.
No?
I don't think she would have done it. She's had problems the last years.
Yeah, she's had problems being retarded.
No, with her, I don't know.
Anyways, what else is there to say? I would say that...
Well, I guess when we get to the end, you can say what was the what would you call it, surprise, or the twist.
But yeah, we can get to that, but you can talk about that. But first, I would like to mention there was also another stupid thing that the bad guys did, which is they fired everyone, basically. They fired like 80% of the quarry workers, and I thought, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of, because it's like, yeah, like, it's good to fire some people sometimes, I guess, but like, when you need to, but why would they just fire like almost everyone? Like, there's no logic or reasoning to that whatsoever. Like, that would destroy the business.
Yeah, I didn't. But see, they were listening to everything. It was all written out on all these records or invoices, and what they were going to do is they were talking about building these modular homes, and modular meant like, and even Fred knew that it was wrong. They were like a one-room enclosure, and that was it. And he said, these aren't big enough homes for people. And he said, if we do that, then all the staff, they were going to have to fire a whole lot of people or lay off a lot of people. So he knew it was bad, but all the paperwork and everything had gone through, and it was just going to all be a done deal. And then even when they found out that it was wrong, it was almost going to be too late to change it. So, yeah, I know. I agree. Another bad business. That would be a bad business decision, and they would just have Fred to blame it on because he had.
Well, they did blame it on him.
Yeah, they did, and because he signed everything. He didn't know what he was signing, and the dictaphone bird. He even said, you never sign anything until you read it first, and he didn't listen to him. So, but he did. But then he would thought about it, and like he said, he's slow about thinking about things. He's not as smart as Barney. Barney smarter, quicker at thinking about things, but Fred wasn't. But he did, like I said, he did finally figure out, or he was asking a lot of questions, and he knew that something wasn't right about a lot of the things that were going on. He just didn't know how. He didn't put it together.
Safi, would you like to talk about your favorite part? Because you're just like, you're sitting there with your arms crossed and you're like staring out into the world with a glare, with a doom glare or something, because like,
I don't know.
You're just so excited to talk about your favorite part. What's your favorite part of Flintstones?
I don't know. I'm not sure. There's a lot of little things that they do that's really funny, and
no, you wanted to talk about that one part.
Oh, okay. Well, the twist at the end was that, they're going to lynch. This is one thing. They're going to lynch Fred and Barney because they're going to blame them for everything. All the workers at the quarry are going to blame them for everything. And then they get that Wilma and Betty save them with the dictaphone, who tells them what's up. But then when it's all said and done, and the bad guy gets captured, Halle Berry gets arrested, what they discovered was between water and stone, they made concrete. And Mr. Slate says, it made the bad guy into a concrete figure. Because it poured all over him. And then, concrete, when it dries, it's hard as a rock, right? So that was an invention. They never had made concrete before, so this was a new thing. So they were going to let Fred be the president of the company, et cetera, et cetera. He said, no, I don't want it. But that was the little twist that when they were trying to escape what was going on, that because the bad guy kidnapped their children and held them hostage until he got the dictaphone bird back, because he knew the dictaphone bird would tell on them. So anyway, to get him, it just happened to be they made concrete. And so Mr. Slate, the owner of the company, who's in all the cartoons, and it looks exactly like that with the big glasses, and he was so happy about it. He says, we can hire everybody back, and we can start making concrete. And that can make all these other, and it can be made into other things that will help.
Well, I like that, and I didn't like it because I thought it's good that they killed the villain. I thought that was cool because I wasn't expecting them to do that.
No, I wasn't either. I'd forgotten that.
But also, the thing I didn't like about it was that Fred rejects the promotion, and I thought there's only one logical reason, because the whole thing about when I become a somebody, I get really shitty or something. That's not like so what? Like it's just stupid. Like, or why didn't he have Barney get the promotion or something? Like, I thought that was stupid. But the thing is that I
don't think I ever liked that.
I think they didn't have him get the promotion because it wouldn't be the same movie. It wouldn't be the same like the cartoons and if they did a sequel. So if they had gotten a sequel, then it would be him in a different life position, and it just wouldn't be the same as the cartoon.
All right. Well, he said, well, instead of me getting the promotion, I want you to give everybody should be able, and who works there should be able to have 2 weeks off vacation, and everybody should get a raise, I believe. So, and he said, okay, that's fine. So he got that for everybody. So that's right. It would have changed the fabric of the cartoon.
Here's a good question. Which food or drink from the movie would you most want to eat or drink?
I don't know. I guess the steaks.
The steaks.
Even though I really don't eat that much meat like that, I would even just eat a fraction of it. And then also at the end, but they didn't show it very much, Barney was selling snow cones.
Yeah.
And
that sounded good.
That sounded really good. You know, he didn't get to do it for very long. It was like for 2 seconds, but that looked good. So nothing can go wrong with snow cones.
I would say, like, I know that number one, Fred's huge ham leg or turkey leg, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That looked really good, even though it was clearly fake. But number two, they mentioned at the end of the movie that they would have snake and eggs. And I thought, that actually sounds like it could be good, too.
I don't think so.
Like, I'd like to have some snake and eggs.
Yeah.
Or at one point, they also mentioned lizard and onions. And I thought, maybe that could be good. Like, the sandwiches in this movie were huge, too. And I thought there were quite a few things. And it's like, I'd like to try all that. Safi.
Yeah.
Do they have a recipe? Snake and eggs?
Probably.
Snake and eggs.
Not me.
Recipe.
I wouldn't want to touch it. 10-foot pole. Mm-mm.
Ooh, people cook snake eggs. Ooh, rattlesnake
God.
eggs. Oh, what the hell is that? Oh, looks like a science fiction movie.
Gross.
5 out of 5 submitted by Cindy. Cindy's a weird person. Oh, ooh, what the hell is that? What's that green stuff? What's coming? Oh,
God.
Ready in 27 minutes.
That's nice. No.
Oh, wait a second. This isn't real snake eggs. This is cream cheese, green chilies, sausage, and crescent rolls. So why are they calling it snake eggs? Is that like...
I don't know. I've never heard of that.
That's a weird food. I've never heard of that either.
Well, you could fool somebody. Have somebody over for dinner and say, okay, we're having snake eggs.
Oh, people do eat the eggs, though. There's a video here of this Asian man. This Asian man.
That makes sense.
Cooking venomous snake eggs.
Oh, gross.
And they look like tomatoes or something. Like, oh. So anyways, I guess that leads me to my review of the movie. As you can still hear Safi being rude and disruptive in the background.
That's something.
What I would rate the movie is... the thing that I remember about this movie is that when I was a child and I first watched this movie, or one of the times, I had chocolate chip pancakes. But they weren't the good pancakes, they were the box pancakes, because we used to use box pancake mix.
Because my husband won't eat homemade.
Aunt Jemima. Nowadays, I would use Bob's Red Mill. It's in a bag. And so I would give this movie boxed chocolate chip pancakes. Even though they're not the best, they're not as good as regular pancakes. They're fun. They're a guilty pleasure. I could still eat them if I was forced to, or just on a random day, once in a blue moon, while Safi's dying in the background.
I think I'm allergic to the carpet.
I think I'm allergic to your stupidity.
No, there's just so much dust. We lived in a house before with it was all hardwood floors. And there's so much dust, and no matter how much cleaning you do, I think I'm allergic to it.
Well, I'm just so... This movie, it's a good plate of pancakes. Boxed pancakes, chocolate chips, syrup, Halle Berry is the little butter on top, Fred Flintstone is the pancakes, and everyone else is the chocolate chips. And you know who Rosie O'Donnell is?
Oh.
She's the oh, you have to do that too.
It helps.
Rosie O'Donnell is the stomach acid you get from eating the pancakes hours later. You know, that's why I don't really eat pancakes as much anymore, is because every day that you eat pancakes, like a couple hours later, you get horrible stomach acid for a few hours. And that's what Rosie O'Donnell is. She's the stomach acid.
Well, they talked about eggs a lot in the movie. In fact, near the end, when Barney and Betty, they had been living. First, they had to get out of their house because they were renting it out and using the money to pay their bills. And they lived with, they moved in with Fred and Wilma. And then they got mad with all this thing with what happened. Barney said, well, you got everything because I switched the test, and I was the one who deserved it, not you. And anyway, they got mad at each other, and then they moved out, and they were living, it looked like they were camping out. Anyway, they took a big, I don't know what it was, Brachiosaurus or another. This was this is a wrong thing because, dinosaurs and prehistoric people did not coexist. But it's just, because of the cartoon. But anyway, they stole like a Brachiosaurus's eggs, and they were going to make them. But all the way through the movie, they showed them eating eggs. So I'll just say I don't really care for eggs, except I like egg salad. So I'll just give it an egg salad sandwich. I'd say it's pretty good, egg salad. So that's what I give it. And I'm saying it in a positive way. I really enjoyed the cartoon when I grew up. They had really good, and Hanna-Barbera, I don't know if it was this, I don't think it's the same people, it might have been their relatives, helped make the movie. And they had a lot of cartoons.
Well, Safi,
They did a really good job.
speaking of the cartoons, there's going to be a new series based on the Flintstones. It is going to be a very diverse Flintstones
Well, Halle
reboot.
Berry is not.
Yeah, but she wasn't playing a white character from the cartoon. She was playing an original
she was a
character.
new character.
This is going to be a very diverse feminist reboot of the Flintstones.
I don't know how they would do that.
It's going to be called Bedrock, and it's going to be focused on the little girl of Fred and Wilma, all grown up.
Pebbles?
And yeah, and it's going to Elizabeth Banks. She is.
Oh no.
She is Pebbles grown up, and it's gonna be all about her. She's making the series. You know, she ruined Charlie's Angels, and now she's ruining Flintstones. And so, yeah, get excited for a feminazi reboot of Flintstones.
That's just not the Flintstones.
Yeah.
At all. At
So,
all.
Yeah.
And if you watch it, you would know that. Even in the movie.
Nobody wants to see that.
In the movie, they reflected what was in the cartoon.
And it just shows, like, with every single thing nowadays, like, oh, let's make a new Flintstones thing. Well, we're not going to make the show about the two men, the two white men. We're going to make the show about the girl, all grown up, and it's going to be all about her. And it's like, it just shows, like, they do that with every single thing nowadays. So that's just yet another thing they're ruining. Safi?
Weird. Well, I just want to say, when they did the bowling, which, that was nice. Marco used to bowl all the time. And he was on different teams, and I bowled with them. I'd never really done that. It was fun, but anyway, they had when they were doing their tournament, it was on in the movie, another team was Neanderthals. I just thought that because of this feminazi thing. I mean, it was all male teams. And the Neanderthals had this extra long hair and dirty faces and kind of more rugged looking, and they were beating the Neanderthals. So anyway, I was just thinking, because you talked about this feminazi.
So feminazis make you think of Neanderthals.
Well, it's like just the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, so anyway, that would not be, I don't know what they're going to do, but I really don't appreciate it. I'm just really tired of it. I grew up in the 70s, or that's when I was a young woman, and that's when they were doing the women's movement. That was the start of the women's movement, and with burning the bras and all that BS. And this thing where this exaggeration, or it's kind of like this political movement that's taken over a certain party. It's so exaggerated that it isn't real. It's not realistic, because most of the people are in the middle, and this feminazi is just taking it. Feminism too far. It's not realistic. So if they're going to do a Flintstone reboot, turning it into something that it's not, I just don't think it's going to work.
I also find it hypocritical because there's this whole bullshit segregation movement going on nowadays with voice acting, where if you're a white voice actor, you're not allowed to voice any other race of characters except for white characters, and vice versa, supposedly. But in the series, in Bedrock, there is the voice actress who plays Betty is going to be a black woman. So I just think it's interesting that, and Bam Bam is going to be played by an Asian man. And so I just think it's interesting that, like, in Hollywood now,
be an adult too,
right? Probably. And so I think it's interesting that nowadays in Hollywood that, white voice actors are not allowed to play non-white roles in cartoons, but then non-white actors are allowed to play white characters in cartoons. I wonder why that is.
I don't know, but you see the...
Isn't that kind of hypocritical?
You see the characters, Right there, the pictures of the cartoon characters.
So, what are you talking
Oh,
about?
white.
I know, that's what I'm saying, is that these non-white actors, for some reason, are playing these white characters, but then the vice versa, you're not allowed to do that anymore for some reason. So why is this allowed to happen as well?
I don't know.
So that's pretty interesting.
We'll have to see what happens, but I predict it ain't going to be.
Well, I'm not watching it.
Well, we'll have to see what the reaction is and see a trailer or something.
I'm not watching a trailer.
You do?
No.
You watch more trailers than I do.
No, I
never
don't.
watch trailers.
I watch a trailer every once in a while.
Okay, well, whatever. So anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, if you like hearing Safi interrupt every single sentence that I say for 50 minutes long, then thumbs the video up.
Okay, Marco. And if you would like to become one of our subscribers and hear Marco gripe at me all the time, then you're welcome. So, goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye!